Do word problems make you feel like this? Have hope! This video will show you a 7-step method that will turn that pain into pleasure. Okay, maybe not pleasure, but the 7 steps will make solving word problems easy. The first thing you need to realize is that word problems are stories, often dull ones, but stories nonetheless. The first step is to understand the story. Who is doing what, where, when, and how. Drawing simple sketches or diagrams can help you keep things straight. The story is also important because what the problem is asking you to solve for is the missing part of the story. So step 2 is to identify your goal. Identify what you are being asked to find. Like any good goal, write it down. If you're short on time, at least circle or underline it in the problem and draw a question mark nearby. Now it's time for step 3. Identify the information you've been given. Start by identifying all the numbers in the problem. I recommend making a list to keep track of all your given information. If you're short on time, at least circle or underline the given information in the problem. I can tell you from experience, the more complex the problem, the more essential making a list becomes. Next, identify any information alluded to in the problem. Phrases such as starts from rest or comes to a halt imply a velocity of 0. Add this alluded to information in your givens list. It will often be crucial to solving the problem. I want you to pause for a moment and realize we haven't actually done any math yet. Most people skip the steps I just showed you and start straight punching numbers into calculators. Test writers anticipate this, and on multiple choice exams, they'll provide you with the pitfall answers that come from charging straight to calculation. Returning to the problem, it's time for step 4. Assign a variable to represent each of your givens. For example, instead of writing time, I'll just write t. Instead of initial velocity, I'll just write vi. As you become more fluent with a particular content, you'll be able to do steps 3 and 4 simultaneously and assign variables as you write down your givens. We're now at step 5. Pick an equation. Instead of deliberating about every equation in your book or on your equation sheet, just look for the equation that has the same letters as your variables. Use that equation. The one caveat to this, if you're outside of a formal class and using equations from different sources, your sources may use different variables than the ones you chose. For example, some people like to use d for distance while others use x. These are the exact same equation. Once you've picked an equation, write it down. The hard work is over. We've turned the problem into plug and play. We're at step 6, substitute and solve. Rewrite the equation substituting your givens for variables. When you're doing the substitution, make sure all your units are consistent. For example, if you have a speed in meters per second and a distance in feet, convert the distance to meters before you substitute it. With the substitution done, you must resist the temptation to plug everything into your calculator. This is particularly important for equations with fractions, parentheses, and mixed operations such as addition and multiplication. Test writers know all the common math mistakes and will provide you with the pitfall answers. I prefer to rewrite the equation after each calculation. Even after a decade of solving certain problems, I make math mistakes if I don't write down every line. So now you have an answer. Don't celebrate just yet. We're at step 7. Check your answer. Assign units to your answer and translate it back into the original story. Ask yourself if your answer makes sense. Depending on the story, ask yourself questions such as, can a human run that fast? Is that a reasonable voltage for a household battery? If your answer makes sense, yay! You're done! If your answer doesn't make sense, check your math. If you didn't write out each step of the problem, try doing that. So there you have it, a 7-step method to solving all word problems. This method works in all situations. I've even used it on a project management budgeting test. The steps make a horrible acronym. If you can come up with a good acronym or mnemonic to remember the steps and their order, please add it to the comments below the video. Thanks for watching.